Hi, I'm Dr. Philip Romero. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's word is creativity, one of the most interesting and inspiring topics that I've been involved with all of my life. I'm going to do three things. I'm going to define creativity, I'm going to talk about the brain and creativity, and then I'm going to talk about how you can increase your creativity through practice that will have beneficial effects on lowering your stress, increasing your attentional abilities to work better, more efficiently, and to prolong your life. We can think of creativity as the antidote for stress. The human brain mind has come up with this marvelous capacity to be inventive, creative, and adaptive for survival. Okay, let's start with defining creativity. You could probably ask 10 people to define creativity and come up with 10 different answers. But I thought maybe the best way is to ask really creative people in history and see how they defined it or thought about it. Let's go back to the first one. One of my great heroes is Leonardo da Vinci. Scientist, artist, inventor. This guy was one of the most creative human beings in our history. Leonardo, as a painter, described the following: "The painter has the universe in his hand and mind." That simple definition gets to the fact of the process of creativity opens our consciousness up to the vast expanses of the universe and to the tiniest things we can see or imagine. So I think when we get into defining creativity, we're going to see, rather than a definition, we're going to have a conversation. William Blake, the visionary poet and artist, said, "To see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour." Now, like Leonardo, he's saying that creativity takes consciousness on a kind of time and space continuum. We are not bound by the flesh or by time or space. And in some ways, he was anticipating the scientific discovery by Einstein of relativity and the time-space continuum. So listen what Albert Einstein said: "To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle, requires creative imagination and marks real advances in science. True science of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination." We come back to consciousness and the mind when we're talking about creativity. This still very mysterious link between brain and mind and body. The conduit for mind or consciousness to the body is the brain. And we'll see when we talk about the brain next what an incredible machine it is in helping us with this overwhelming capacity for imagination to live in a body with its limits and its frailties. Okay, let's talk about the brain, the mind, and creativity. I first want to present the idea that our bodies are built to handle stress, but we can get overloaded and it can take a toll on our health and our life, our mind and our behavior. We know that being stressed out produces a whole array of negative and destructive states of being and behavior. So when we look at creativity and this whole notion of imagination and the mind's ability to rewire the brain through changing and learning patterns, we begin to understand that creativity may hold the secret to mastering stress. So let's talk about how that might happen. So when the brain is focused on doing, it is point-driven, and the circuits involved in that task hammering a nail, solving a math problem, driving a car are on, and everything else is shut down because it's not needed. You don't need to think about cooking an omelet when you're driving a car. And if you do, you may end up in the ditch. So point-focused doing. Now the opposite of that is a state of being. During just being, we become aware of our senses, of our body. We feel, we see, we smell, we taste, we touch, just when we're being. And in that state of being, the brain circuitry changes its point-focused doing, and the entire brain lights up and begins chattering with each other. All the various centers and circuits of the brain and mind sort of have a community meeting. They turn inward and share information and memories and feelings and thoughts. And this big meeting produces new ideas, new solutions to old problems, like Einstein said. And we know that those artists will tell you, and many will tell you, that during art making, they don't think. It just hits them from nowhere. They don't even know where inspiration comes from. But it comes from this state of paying attention to the present, something we call divergent thinking. Divergent thinking, wide open thinking, compared to the doing brain, which is convergent thinking, point focused on a mission. So you have tunnel vision for doing and wide open vision for imagination. Think of it as a camera with a point focus lens, a microscope, and then a telescope with a wide open lens. And these states are actually different brain states. One is outward looking, the other is inward looking. So mind can actually regulate. Mind can point the brain's flashlight to pay attention to something specific or to just gaze in wonderment at the universe. When we cultivate both, when we become efficient at doing something and take breaks to just being, we're actually balancing stress, we're balancing our sense of self or self-esteem, we're becoming more efficient when we do because we've taken a break by being. And that's a critical thing to understand for the body-mind link, for the brain's efficiency, and the consequences of we have a better immune system, improved concentration, greater sense of patience, more resilience, and ultimately a longer life with a lot more enjoyable times. So you can actually spend time learning how to cultivate your creativity, and that's what we're going to focus on next. Let's talk about increasing your creativity. It's a very simple instruction. Do nothing, or stop doing. As soon as you consciously say to yourself, do nothing or stop doing, your brain begins to shift from convergent thinking to divergent thinking. You begin to enter a state for daydreaming, or if you do meditation, you allow yourself to focus only on your breathing and let your brain enter into this divergent state. We know that during divergent brain states, the brain actually, in its cross-communication, creates synchrony. The synchronous function of the brain is a highly attuned brainwave state where the brain is not, imbalanced in its focus, but, very balanced across all the various centers of the brain. And the benefits that come with that are lowered stress, improved imagination, relaxation. I like to call it serious fun. And we all start in our childhood with the capacity to do this, and we have to learn to be point focused and do things as we're told. So this maintaining a link to your childhood natural state of wonderment is a critical part of mental and physical health, social and emotional functioning, and ultimately improved doing. You do better and more efficiently when you've taken time to be. It's that old smell the roses and that sort of thing that in our busy doing world we do less and less, particularly with these screens that we have, and we can become addicted to doing screens rather than just being. And one of the big consequences of too much doing is you lose touch with your body. You forget how to feel, how to smell, how to taste, how to enjoy your visual field. So we want to enhance that. And there's some very simple things you can do. When you're not forced to do something, let's say you're riding the bus to work, allow yourself to daydream. Look at people, look out the window. Don't do anything. Don't think about what you're going to be doing at work, because that's a doing. Allow your mind to wander, to remember, to imagine. So the more times during the day that you take a moment to stop doing, take a deep breath, and just be. It can be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or on your lunch break, take 10 minutes to do nothing and down-regulate your stress system, synchronize your brain waves, and the payoff will be obvious to you immediately, but as you cultivate it as a daily practice, the long-term benefits will accrue, and the result is you'll become a more mindful, self-aware human being. And those folks tend to function at a higher level. They don't burn out. They tend to be more emotionally regulated and nicer to be around. So you cultivate this wonderful sense of self, gratitude that you have this marvelous body and this miraculous sense of consciousness, and your creativity, which is your nature, can then be explored in doing. So it's an enjoyable thing to be a human being. Stress can rob us of that, can hijack our brain and intoxicate us with stress hormones to the point that all that we love and cherish can be lost through our own self-sabotaging behaviors. Creativity is the antidote, and cultivating just being, stop doing, is a powerful formula for the rest of your life. Thank you for watching this video. We're always open to welcoming your questions and comments below. And we're going to provide some links to help you in your practice of improving your creativity, of monitoring your stress, and exploring ways to implement your creativity. And if the stresses are overwhelming, remember, call your mental health professional. Sometimes whatever we do is not enough, and we need someone to help us in that assessment of our stresses or helping us promote our creativity. So have a wonderful day. I really look forward to seeing you soon, and be on the lookout for a new video post from my Art Equals Survival series, where I have a great conversation with Nobel Prize scientist Eric Kandel about the brain, the mind, and creativity. We shot it at the Neue Gallery in front of this marvelous Gustav Klimt painting, and hope you enjoy it. Have a good day.